welcome to the second day of the Grill conference. Thank you all for being here. I actually have the pleasure of announcing a very exciting young actress on the series that you were just watching, Rectify from AMC. Without further ado, let me welcome Abigail Spencer to the stage. Okay, so Abigail, you thought you were here for one reason, but we're actually here for you to basically tell us how the series all wraps up.
I was like, oh my gosh, she's coming out from the side.
No. Okay, so tell the audience I know Rectify, but for the audience here, tell them a little bit about the character you play and just sort of what you're doing on the show currently.
Well, I'm on the show Rectify on Sundance TV, and I play the character Amantha Holden. The show takes place in a small southern town called Pauley in Georgia, and I'm actually from a small southern town in the northwest Florida, the Redneck Riviera, Floribama, if you will. And I've actually never gotten the opportunity to play a contemporary southern character, and something that was very true to, I think, the mindset that I grew up in. I also grew up in a very counterculture family, and I feel like Rectify is really talking about a counterculture society within kind of this very traditional town. And so the storyline takes place around the central figure, Daniel Holden. He's been on death row for 19 years, and for a crime that he probably didn't commit. There's the death penalty in Georgia, so it's a huge, huge factor of the show. And so my character, Amantha, has been basically fighting since she was 12 years old for him to be free. And the show picks up that moment that it happens. They find other DNA evidence that proves that he was not the only person at the crime, and the show kind of catapults from that moment. It's a slingshot of him literally being like, I'm coming out of a box, out of being there for 19 years. And it's been, it's very emotional.
Yes, well, you play as a sister in the series. The interesting thing, I saw a recent clip where he wants to take a plea deal, and so you're basically saying, like, because you've devoted sort of your whole life trying to prove his innocence.
Yeah, because if he takes the plea deal, then forever he will be known as a murderer.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's why I spent my whole life trying to clear our name and his name and believing that he was innocent, and he doesn't know. I mean, he can't remember if he did it, so it's just for it to be done.
Yeah.
But it'll never truly be done.
Talk a little bit about, just in general, going about choosing roles right now in Hollywood for females.
Well, I mean, what stood out about Rectify, I mean, I've been acting for a hot minute now, and read a lot of scripts and read a lot of great things and not so great things, but I will say that most of the great female roles are happening on television right now. So at the time, for television, you know, an opportunity there, I was looking for something in cable. I got the really great fortune to be on Mad Men a few years ago. And I got to play Suzanne Farrell, the teacher of the show. And it really showed me that it's possible to have great female characters in the cinema of television right now. So when I read Amantha, she's not the girlfriend, you know, she's not the wife, she's the sister, and she has her own life, and you go home with her, and she has her own plight, and she was just unlike anything I had ever read, and that's really a great attribution to our creator and writer, Ray McKinnon, who's the creator of the show. And I just, you know, it was so unique.
Now you mentioned Mad Men, so that kind of segues us into why you're here. I'm assuming this is where your relationship started with a very special person that you're here to introduce for us.
Yes, yes, I'm a lucky girl. I've gotten to work with AMC and Sundance TV, you know, for a few years now.
Yeah.
And a couple years ago, they brought Rectify to the Sundance Film Festival to premiere it there, which is unheard of. Like, who premieres television shows at film festivals? And we had this big dinner to kind of kick off the thing, and all the actors were just like, we've never been treated so great before, like, what's happening, you know? And this very tall, very handsome man came up to me and said, oh, I just love Rectify so much. I'm like, oh my gosh, how have you seen it? He's like, well, I work at the network. Well, it's so nice. What's your name? Josh. Josh. Okay. Oh, nice to meet you, Josh. And so then the evening goes on, and all of a sudden, Josh stands up in front of the entire room and starts to bring down the house, like dropping Larry David bombs, just like super funny. And I lean over to someone like, yeah, he really works at the network. Like, what does he do? He's like, he's all of our boss. And I was like, oh, okay, oh, yes. And But that's Josh Sapan. He has been such a champion of Rectify. He's an incredible CEO and president of that network, and I've had the best experience working with him. So why don't we bring him out and I can stop talking.